Hello. I wanted to give you a review of the Chapter 12 lecture on micronutrient function and energy metabolism. There's a lot in here, so I will break it into two lectures. We're going to be talking about the water-soluble vitamins, B vitamins, and the B vitamins function as a group. They are coenzymes, which means that they factor into the enzymes that make metabolism happen. So this is a very detailed slide, but just to show you all of the coenzymes that are involved. And these coenzymes are involved in the energy release within the cell. So you can see that all the B vitamins, as there's sub B vitamins, B vitamin 1 is thiamine, B vitamin 2 is riboflavin, which is also called the yellow vitamin, hint hint, meaning its color in liquid format is yellow. Niacin, B6, folate, pantothenic acid, biotin, and B12. So it gives you an idea of all of the factors that relate to the metabolism of amino acids, which are proteins, carbohydrates as glucose, and lipids as fatty acids. And not that I expect you to know all these different coenzymes, but I just want you to see how this NAD is made from niacin. So niacin is involved in protein metabolism. How are the intakes of B vitamins in North America? They're actually pretty good because they're water-soluble vitamins, and our grains in this country are enriched. So when you use enriched grains, those grains have B vitamins put back on them since they were removed from processing when the germ and the endosperm, the germ and the bran were taken out. So again, the refining of grains makes the B vitamins drop, but because of the 1930 federal regulation that required fortification, enrichment, these grains now have been enriched with thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and folic acid. However, they're still quite low in other nutrients. So if you look here at whole wheat bread, brown is the whole wheat bread, white is the regular bread. Look at the B6 content. Okay, look at the potassium content. Quite a bit substantial. Zinc, okay, again, so much more. Magnesium, fiber. So whole grains are by far a better choice when it comes to B vitamin content. So let's talk specifically about each of the individual B vitamins. Thiamine, which is the first B vitamin that was discovered, and its main function is in ATP pathways, especially those involving carbohydrates. What happens if you don't get enough? The disease is actually called beriberi, and it's quite extensive, the symptoms, but keep in mind that in this country it's very, very rare to have B vitamin deficiencies. The one population that we often see them in is alcoholics, because B vitamins are required for the metabolism of alcohol, so many of the B vitamins are used up in metabolizing alcohol. Again, do people get enough? They typically do. So most people get adequate. Okay. And where do we get it? We get it from pork products are extremely high, whole grains, wheat germ, ready-to-eat cereals, and enriched grains, or refined enriched grains, green beans, milk, orange juice, organ meats, peanuts, dried beans. You can see there it's in a wide variety of foods. And here gives you a little kind of picture view of what foods are high in thiamine. And if you can tell by the food groups, the colors of the food groups, it's in a wide variety of food groups. All right, B2, riboflavin. Again, riboflavin does a couple of things. It helps specifically in fatty acid breakdown, which we do to yield energy when we don't have enough glucose present, but it also plays a role as an antioxidant. It supports the enzyme glutathione peroxidase. One of the deficiencies could be inflammation of the mouth and tongue, cracking on the tongue and corners of the mouth. My son frequently gets this. I think it's more due to dry lips, but I always think of a riboflavin deficiency. Do Americans get enough? We get plenty of riboflavin. Actually, the most common foods of riboflavin are typically enriched grains and dairy foods. But one thing to keep in mind is that riboflavin is what causes your urine to be so bright yellow after taking a B vitamin supplement, and that really comes from the name ribo, and flavus means yellow. So again, you get those in dairy foods, enriched grains, meats, eggs, dark green leafy vegetables. And again, you can see it's in a wide variety of foods. So often when a nutrient is in a wide variety of foods, we don't tend to become deficient because we are eating so many sources of it. All right, niacin, B3. Niacin also, it functions in the body as nicotinic acid or nicotinamide. And one of the things that's unique about nicotinic acid is that it actually can be used to lower LDL, which is the bad cholesterol in the body. So often physicians may prescribe high doses of niacin to help bring down LDL levels. So it is involved in fatty acid synthesis. What happens if we don't get enough? Again, rarely seen these days. You can get pellagra, which is rough or scaly skin. And again, the most common B vitamin deficient group is alcoholics. How do we get enough? Again, protein, meat, peanuts. It's in a wide variety of foods. Now, the nice thing about B vitamins is even though we get more than we need sometimes, they're water soluble, so our body can get rid of what we don't need. All right, here's an example. And you see that niacin is more common in protein foods, but it's also found in grains and some vegetables. What always amazes me when I do this lecture is how much nutrition are in 5 raw mushrooms. So keep that in mind if you want to add some mushrooms to your salad. What happens if you get too much? Well, again, one of the benefits of high doses of niacin is it actually can help lower LDL, but one of the disadvantages is that it can cause some itching and flushing in the skin. All right, let's look at pantothenic acid, which is also vitamin B5. Again, all these B vitamins function as coenzyme. And again, this is very rare to be deficient because it's in so many foods. And Americans get plenty. What about B6? B6 is involved. It's active in both carbohydrate, protein, and lipid metabolism, and it acts as a coenzyme in over 100 amino acid and protein metabolisms. So vitamin B6 is really critical for breaking down proteins to the amino acids. The deficiencies, it can depression, vomiting, skin disorder, but one thing that vitamin B6 is also highly involved in is the heme portion of hemoglobin. So if you don't have enough vitamin B6, you have very small red blood cells and they have lower hemoglobin concentration. How do we get enough? Again, we get plenty because they're in such a wide variety of foods like animal products, cereals, potatoes, bananas, spinach. And again, you see these multiple colors show that it's in a wide variety of things. Biotin, also called B6. Biotin is interesting because we can actually make adequate biotin in our gut, and so we actually don't need to consume it if we have a healthy gut. As far as foods with fat, things like egg yolks, peanut butter, cheese are high in it. And you'll see that typically it's the protein foods, the dairy foods, because they have fat. Even wheat germ and egg noodles are high in fat. Okay, so biotin is in fat. Iodine is something that helps regulate our thyroid gland, and iodine has been linked to goiter and also creatism, which is poor growth. It helps regulate our metabolic rate and responsible for growth. So iodine is now added, well, it's been added probably since the 1940s to the salt in our country to make sure that we get adequate intake. This is an example of goiter, and it shows an enlarged thyroid gland due to lack of iodine. So the iodide resides in soil, and since our soil in the United States is quite low in iodide, we add iodide to our salt to make sure that we're getting enough. But too high of intake of iodide can cause low thyroid hormone production. Okay. Some food sources, obviously salt, some fish. Chromium. Chromium is a mineral that aids in insulin and insulin production and uptake of glucose into the cells. There has been some research that shows that individuals with poor chromium intake actually have a higher glucose intolerance. So chromium is pretty important, and as you see from the pictures, one of the best sources of chromium comes from mushrooms. Nuts are also high, rice, oats, green leafy vegetables, beans. So this just gives you some ideas of snacks that have high amounts of the B vitamins that we just discussed. And then what this table provides is an overview of the different nutrients, what their major functions are. I don't expect you to memorize the RDA or AI, the food sources, deficiencies, and toxicities. So this would be a good one to print out if you would like to print this out so that you can kind of see the main functions of the different B vitamins. And thank you. I'll post a review for the chapter 13 next.